Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to Adamsville, home of Sheriff Buford Pusser. We're going to go visit the Buford Pusser Museum, his home where he lived. We're going to find the highway memorial where he wrecked his vehicle and passed away. We're going to visit the final resting place of him and his wife. So, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the original Walking Tall. Here we go. The Adamsville Water Tower. Got a silhouette of Buford Pusser there. Says Walking Tall in Adamsville. Sheriff Buford Pusser. And this is right here at the Buford Pusser Memorial Park. And we have arrived to the Buford Pusser home and museum. Here's the gates, which I'm sure was not here when he lived here. Got a silhouette of him standing there with a piece of wood, 4x4 or 2x4, whatever it was he carried. Got his name there. This is the drive. Go down through there and park. Other side of the gate. Home and museum. Got the flagpole with the flags flying. Got the national flag and then the Tennessee state flag underneath. Pretty good sized home he lived in for the 60s and 70s. Got a thing of the 10 Commandments sitting there out front. And it does ask you to go through the front door. So here's the sign here. The Buford Pusser Home and Museum says welcome. So they're open on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 11 to 4. Saturday from 10 to 4. And the admission for adults is $10. Children from 7 to 17, 3, and 6 and under is free. And they do accept credit cards. And there is the website, BufordPusserMuseum.com. And you can check them out on Facebook. Alright. So this is when you first walk into Buford's house. This right here is an extension that was built on later. All of the furniture in here is original organ there. And this is his parents, Carl and Helen. It's a picture of Buford there. And that's Buford on the left and his wife Pauline on the right. And these are their children, Dewana, Mike, and Diane. Pauline was previously married before she met and married Buford, and she had 2 kids with her first husband, and that is Mike and Diane, the 2 on the right. Dewana is the daughter of Pauline and Buford, and they only had the one. Some articles. Original couch, table, chair there. When you come in, you do watch a little short 8-minute video. We're going to watch that now, actually.
When it comes to fighting the criminal element, Buford was hell on wheels. That's really what he was.
He really was. He did a fantastic job in keeping the peace and order of McNairy County.
He came to this office on the first Monday in September 1966. 24 months later, he had busted 147 whiskey stills with nobody to help him except his chief deputy, Jim Moffitt.
Ain't a bug shot in the county. That big blue can't hit.
He was a yes sir and a no sir, a yes ma'am and a no ma'am person, a man prone to open the car door for ladies and things like that. I know that when he dealt with the criminal element, he did have a vicious side, but in that case, he was fighting fire with fire.
When he campaigned to clean up the area without a gun, without force. And then he got stabbed, and so it changed his mind. I think his mother and everybody was concerned, it wasn't going to work. If you're going to live, you're going to have to take something beside your hand. Of course, he had a big hand, that was a lot, but some of the people he's dealing with, machine guns and all, a hand not much help.
He had a lot of strikes against him when he took the sheriff's job. The sheriff that was running against Buford when he was running for sheriff come up dead in a car, supposedly a car wreck down here between Selmer and State Line. But now they was some terribly rough people down there around the state line. There was some bad folks up here in this part of the country in those days, maybe still be, but he was not afraid of them, and he would stand up to them and do whatever it took to clean up the things that didn't need to be here.
He had a way about him, he had a personality that just stood out. And things happened to him that, thank goodness, don't normally happen to most people. But I guess because of his size, they went looking for him.
One day there was a carnival came through town, and they had a bear with the carnival, and they selected people from the audience, just come up and wrestle the bear. So Buford decided he was going to wrestle the bear. It was a big black bear, and so he did. He got up in the ring and wrestled the bear, and he pinned the bear.
One of the most interesting stories that I ever knew about Buford dealt with a lady that called him when they had domestic problems. It seems that this fellow would abuse his family, come in drunk. One night he threw the cat in the stove. Another night he threw the girls' school books in the stove. She called Buford and said, he's drunk again, Buford. I need some help over here. So Buford got in a patrol car. He went to Adamsville. But he stopped just before he got to the man's house, and he cut him a hickory stick about like your thumb.
John Grant was the man's name, but they called him Flagpole. So Buford went out there in the yard and cut him down a small tree, what it was. He called it a switch.
Drove on up to the house. The lady come out crying, and Buford said, well, what's the matter this time? Oh, he's down in the barn. She said, he's drunk. Don't go down there, Buford, he'll kill you if you go down there. Buford went down there and drug him out and whipped him with that hickory stick until he wet all over himself.
But he took him by the arm and just wore that switch or what it was out on him. Said, now, flagpole, I whipped you this time like a kid. But said, if I have to come back out here and you beating up on your family and chasing your in-laws, said, I'm going to whip you like you was a man. He never did have to go back.
The morning that he got shot, I cut his hair that afternoon, late that afternoon, and he was telling me that he was going to Kentucky to visit his in-laws, you know, and he was laughing about that, said, you know, you have to go sometime. And that was late in the afternoon, and he got shot the next day.
After the ambush, our whole life was upside down. It's hard enough losing your parent when you're 6 years old, but it's very hard to understand as a little girl that someone would want to murder your mother.
We just ripped my jaw off here for taking things and down on the shoulder here. And she was hit again and killed.
Our family lost so much through this, but my dad stood up and believed in it and continued to keep cleaning the area up.
I just don't like to give up. I mean, once they get you down, they're going to keep you down. If they think they can put you on the run, they're going to put you on the run.
Law enforcement's been his whole life. Though he's been stabbed and shot, and they killed his wife.
He called me one night. He said, "You're not going to believe what's happening." I said, "What?" And he said, "Some so-and-so called me and said they've been Cross Productions and they'd be interested in making a movie about my life."
By the time he was out of the sheriff's office, they'd made the movies, and he was just famous because of the way he did his job and the way it all ended like it did.
We had been told that they had had a contract out in his life. He said, no talking to people that you do not know. Do not get in the car and ride with somebody that you do not know.
Well, there's some talk that the syndicate put a price on your head. Now, do you really think this happened?
Well, it's strictly to the grapevine. The rumor had got out that they had.
I could look up ahead and see there was something happening on the left side of the road. We had to go down the hill, back up another top of a little hill, and as we got closer, I told him, I said, "That's Daddy. Daddy's on the road." I was so scared for him. So held on to his neck, turned him over, held it, and was saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." And he muttered a little bit, and what I want to think was Duana. I hope and pray that he knew that I was there with him. It was just another moment or two, and he was gone.
There's no way that anybody can find out what happened, but there's just people that said somebody sabotaged the car.
He wasn't perfect, no, by no means, but he was a very good man. He had a good heart, and you know what? He fought for something that he believed in.
He done the best job that anybody I know of that's ever been sheriff in this county.
I'm the sheriff of the county.
He gave a bunch of people what they had coming to them. And that's the way people felt when they saw those movies, you know. They knew the criminal element was going to suffer when he got to them.
He kept walking tall every day, even though all the bad things that had happened to his life, and he could have turned bitter, but he didn't.
There's some pictures of Mr. Buford. There's a painting there. The chandelier. And the carpet, it is original. Kind of that dark mustard color look to it. There's some more pictures of Mr. Buford. And there is the stick that he carried with him. Original record player and radio. And this is a picture of Buford's daughter Duana and George Jones at the Barnes & Noble Walking On book signing in Brentwood, November 8th, 2008. That's a book that she wrote. There's a cutout of him. That might be. No, I wouldn't. No, it's not life size, but he was a big man. The living room. There's a painting of him back there. And all this furniture is original. Original chair, couch, lamp, end table, coffee table. A picture of Buford on the left, Johnny Cash on the right, and I think that's Billy Graham in the middle. So yeah, this is the living room. Big open living room. There's the kitchen. All original as well. Refrigerator does not work anymore, but they're not going to get rid of it because it is original. All the cabinets. Ovens. There's the stove. And here's a old telephone, and this is a picture of him on that phone. There's a picture of him sitting right there. And like I mentioned, that phone is original. And here is the phone book. It's got his number in it. It's an old phone book. And this is a lot of his school certificates, awards, pictures and yearbooks. When he played sports, football, basketball. I think he wrestled too. There's a student notebook of his. There's a picture of him down at the bottom left there. He's just 4 months old with his sister. There's another picture of him and his sister and his brother. There in the middle. That's a picture of his birthplace in Finger, Tennessee. It's a young picture of him at 5 or 6, it says. Old slingshot. And this picture right there beside the refrigerator, that's a picture of Dewana, I believe. A painting. There's the kitchen table and chairs. So when Pauline, his wife, was killed in 1967, Buford's mother started to come over more often and stay a lot more than before. And then when Mr. Buford was killed, she pretty much moved in and lived here. And his dad kind of stayed on and off here. But his parents, they did have another home that basically he stayed at all the time. And then his mother lived here. But his father did, like I mentioned, come and stay here every so often as well. The old Bible, bust, sculpture, Buford. And his reclining chair that he sat in all the time. The painting of him, it's got his grave memorial there, looks like. The Buford Pusser Home and Museum. His memorial where he wrecked at. And we'll go and take a look at all those as well. So this is the front door. Of course, they don't want you going in or out of it. Got more certificates and awards here. To Helen Pusser with best regards, Ronald Reagan. Helen was his mother. That's a picture of her right there. A picture of him in 1955. It's a picture of him and his father, 1973. There's another young Buford in 1941. And this is a picture of his mother, Helen, in the driveway here at this house. So this part that I'm walking through, the main original living room, the hall, these bedrooms, they were all burnt in 1971. The house caught fire in 1971. But it was built back on the original foundation and original house plans. And this is the room that Buford and his wife Pauline slept in. And when Pauline was murdered, he had all of these things, everything in this room, put in storage because he just couldn't bear to stay in this room with memories of her. So all of this was put in storage, and thankfully it was kept in good shape. You can see the bed, the phone, pictures back there. They have it roped, so I can't go in the room. But blue carpet, original carpet. So it says points of interest. You can read that there. This is the exact location of Buford and Pauline's bedroom in the house that burned in 1971. After Pauline's death, Buford asked for this furniture to be removed. It was placed in storage and replaced with new furniture before Buford came home from the hospital. After the house burned in 1971, this room was used by family members and as a guest bedroom with the original furniture. Buford's bedroom, bath, and den are now downstairs that he stayed in. And it says, the vase on the floor to the left of the chest was purchased by Pauline. The small dog, doll, and powder dish on the dresser were some of Pauline's favorite items. The scales on the chest were a gift to Pauline from Buford. The black phone was the original phone that was beside the bed that fatal August 12th morning. I believe that is the day that the ambush happened where Pauline was killed. And the bedroom suite was purchased by Buford soon after their return from Chicago. This furniture was shared by Buford and Pauline until her death in 1967. And there's that vase talked about. And there's the dog and doll and the powder dish on the other side of that card. That was some of Pauline's favorite items. And then right across from that bedroom is Dewana's bedroom, who was the only child of Buford and Pauline. So in the window is a childhood decoupage of Buford's picture on a syrup bottle. The plaque on the wall is Dewana's cheerleading award in 1976 and 77. And on the small chair is her cheerleading sweater. It says many of the stuffed animals and figurines were brought to Dewana by her father from many travels in the U.S. and abroad. And the Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls on the dresser were sent to Dewana in an arrangement at her father's death. So there's the Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls that she received after her father's death. There's her cheerleading sweater and shoes. There's her bed. There's that syrup bottle. You can see his picture a little bit on the bottom there. And this room is also roped off that I cannot go into. All right. Let's see here. Got some more pictures of Buford. Got a bad glare on some of them. Apologize about that. These pictures, they don't say who they're with or anything. So if you know some of these people in these pictures, let me know in the comments below, because I don't know who they are. And I believe this is a picture of Mike, Diane, and Dewana. A loving tribute to Helen Pusser. That was his mom. A very special grandmother. That door right there just goes outside, probably maybe to a garage it might have had or something. And this is a bathroom, the only bathroom upstairs. Might be the only bathroom in the house, I'm not sure. You can see the blue. I mean, this is a pretty big house for 60s and 70s. It's nice. There's a hall closet right there. And this room right here, I purposely skipped to come back to, because this is Mike's room. So points of interest. The gold chair in the corner was in the home of Carl and Helen Pusser when Buford was a small child. The gold chair, okay. The Bible was given to Mike by his grandmother, Helen Pusser. I believe that's it right there. And most of the items were collected by Mike in his late childhood and early teen years. And it says the pictures on the desk are of Mike's children, Michael, Eric, and Ashton. Now, there is many people that was friends with Buford during his time as sheriff and afterwards. And there's the desk. That's me. Rocky Top Traveler. But probably the most famous person to ever come and stay here and sleep in that bed and walk these halls was Elvis Presley. Said Elvis Presley came to this house to visit with the family after Buford's death and sat in Mike's room while he was here. Elvis felt that if he attended the funeral, it would cause too much of a commotion and take away from Buford. Duana was in the living room and walked down the hall to take a peek at Elvis. She made 2 trips to look at him, and by the 3rd trip down the hall, he had slipped out the back door. And I'm guessing that's the door he slipped out of. But we was told that Elvis actually come here quite a bit and stay here. He was pretty good friends with Buford, and he would come and he would stay in Mike's room. So, pretty cool. Who would have thought? Elvis Presley slept in that bed, stayed in this room, walked through this door, and slept out that back door. Very cool. Yeah, walking back down the hall, kitchen, living room. And we are going to go downstairs and take a look at what is down there. Alright, going downstairs now. Got some more pictures. Gun. There's the movie poster for Walking Tall, Walking Tall Part 2. The final chapter of Walking Tall. So this is the actual stick that got the legend started with Buford Pusser, where he would go out and take care of business. This is why he didn't carry the gun. He carried this big stick. And this is the actual real stick. And this was a fence post. So it's not heavy, but it would definitely do the job. No doubt about it. It's nice. So this was actually used in the first movie, the original Walking Tall. You can tell it's not real. It's hollow. But it was in somebody's attic for 30 years, she said. The woman that's kind of walked around talking to us, telling us stuff. Somebody's attic for 30 years, and then they just up and give it to them. And like you saw a minute ago, the stick on the far left is the original that got the legend started. The middle one is the one that was a steel pipe that's filled with concrete. And the one on the far right is the one that Buford carried around to promote the movie. This tells about the ambush that took Pauline's life on August 12, 1967. It said they pulled out from behind the United Methodist Church and started shooting. They shot Pauline in the head immediately, but it didn't kill her. Buford pulled over to see about her. That's when the killers returned and shot her again in the head, and then they shot Buford's chin completely off. His deputy, P.D. Plunk, found his jawbone in a field later that day. There's pictures of him in the hospital. This is the ambush site. New Hope Methodist Church, where it took place. Alright, so this is Buford's bathroom downstairs. We got some people coming downstairs, so we'll probably have people talking in the background. This is his shower and bath. See, it's painted blue in here. There's some of his personal items.
I remember him playing in the movie. This dude, that went off.
And this is his bedroom here.
I remember him, I liked him.
His bed. Got 3 closets. And those are his clothes, his shoes, up at the top there. Another certificate. The king-size bed. The window he could see out. Now, I don't know if that was actually a full window at the time, or if it was a full wall. Jack Daniels, bullets, and shotgun shells, encyclopedias. Picture of Johnny Cash. Some original jackets, ties, more shirts. Clock not working. That's all right. There's a hat, ring jacket, more shoes. I don't know what size he wore. I'm not going to touch them or anything either to look and see. But it's pretty big. Kind of comparison a little bit. I think these are 10s or 10 and a half, so those are probably 11 or 12s. He was 6'6", 250. So he was a big, stocky guy. So we're going to go out into the garage here. Take a look at the vehicle that he died in.
You had a regular patrolman, patrol car wrote
Yeah.
a picture of that down there.
Are y'all from Irons, Florida?
We're from,
There's an old moonshine still.
well, I'm from Florida, but Central Florida. Gilbert. Oh, Ivory. Oh, you said,
Yeah.
I didn't recognize.
Called a
that.
Wildcat
Gilbert.
whiskey still.
Yeah. Do you know Charles?
It's confiscated by Sheriff Robert Lee,
Dane?
February
Dean?
87.
Oh, Dean, Charles Dean.
He
yeah.
was the
Sheriff. Yeah.
sheriff and the representative.
Mhm.
That's my uncle Aunt.
That's your uncle and aunt. Well, big.
I sang that up there and I said, I got to ask him.
Yep.
There's a painting of
Hey, doesn't he have to mention
Whiskey
that?
Still Holler.
That's what I thought, so.
Yeah, he's not state representative anymore.
No.
Or sheriff, he retired from both of them.
Right.
And she
yeah.
retired from teaching and then, she almost said that.
And this is the
No, I heard about her.
vehicle, the Corvette that he was driving
Yeah.
August 21st, coming back from McNairy County Fair.
Yep. Reason Charlie Dean.
Wrecked and hit an embankment
Years too in the sheriff's department.
where the memorial is actually at now. He hit that embankment and threw him out of the windshield. His daughter Dewana was not far behind, and being 13 at the time, she knew that this was his vehicle, this was him. And I don't know who she was riding with, but they pulled over and she pulled him out of this vehicle. Or well, she didn't pull him out. He was through the windshield. Now how far, I don't know. He might have just been on top or whatever, but she actually pulled him away from this vehicle. And you got to remember, she's 13, Buford 6'6", 250. The adrenaline was pumping, I'm sure. But she pulled him away from this vehicle, and it caught fire not long after that. And that's the reason it looks like this.
Marianne is not related to Charlie Dean, just works for him.
Now, when she pulled him away, he mumbled something to her, but she didn't know exactly what he said, didn't understand him.
Oh, so that is his phone.
She wants to think that maybe he said her name, maybe he said, I love you, Dewana, something along those lines.
His mother gives some bills to some people.
Okay, 13 goes in his wallet.
How many years did he serve? 7.
Well, he served a long time, because his wife died in 67,
Yeah.
so.
And there's some reefs. over there.
He was sheriff then, yeah. I didn't see the beginning and the end of Louise Garden.
So what do we got here?
So actually, and I thought the car would be damaged a lot more than what it is. Being a Corvette, I was expecting it to be pretty much pushed all the way up to the windshield, the front end, the motor being pushed up into the seating area, but it's not. There's a picture of it.
Put it beside the water where there's plenty of water. Copper, used to run through little copper stuff. Copper things, copper tubing, pick that up and cooked it.
Buford,
And this is another personal vehicle.
from his jail, fired out and hit the man in the car he was chasing, and it did stop him. The man was paralyzed for a few years.
Sheriff was?
No, the criminal he shot was paralyzed for a few years.
So it's a Lincoln.
Paralyzed,
That's another personal vehicle there.
wasn't paralyzed anymore. And that was the other auto accident that he was in.
So you got that liquor, you got the heat in this, car underneath.
They got the windows rolled up. Can't really tell. It's got leather seats in it.
Back in there, and then you open it up and it's
And it'll get you in there. I'll get you there. Like that whiskey. Not moonshine, whiskey. Yeah, I like whiskey.
Now there's debate on what happened. Supposedly he was known to have a lead foot. And that might have been the reason he wrecked. He might have been speeding. Another rumor is he was drinking and driving. And then another rumor is the car may have been tampered with. Don't know. Nobody really knows exactly what happened. Other than, unfortunately, he wrecked and that's what took his life. All right. So that is the car that he wrecked and died from, the wreckage of. And that's the other personal vehicle back there. Yeah, I thought this car would be a lot more damaged than what it was, like the front end be pushed up more, but it's not. But we're gonna go take a look at the memorial place where he crashed, and then go to his final resting spot place. Can't get the words out. So we made it over to the memorial. This is Buford Pusser Highway. Down through here. And it's a busy road, and right here is the memorial for Mr. Buford. We'll walk up this little hill here. So it don't look like there's much to it. Nice little rock wall, reef. Buford Pusser, December 12th, 1937, August 21st, 1974. Walk around. See if there's anything else on the other side. No. All right. Like I mentioned, that right there is the Buford Pusser Highway. You do have a little area where you can pull over right there, get out, come look at the memorial. And then here's the sign here. Says on December 12th, 1937, Buford Hayes Pusser was born in Finger, Tennessee. In 1962, he became Adamsville Chief of Police. He was elected Sheriff of McNairy County in 1964. Soon his courageous fight against crime exposed him to much danger and many personal injuries. A movie and a book based on Sheriff Pusser's experiences made him a nationally known hero. He died in an automobile accident here on August 21st, 1974. And like I mentioned earlier, there's kind of suspicion about exactly what happened. Of course, we know it was a wreck, but was he drinking and driving? Or was his car tampered with? Don't really know. Some people believe he was drinking and driving, even though he was a sheriff and he was against things like that. But he did lose his wife several years earlier. Or was his car tampered with by individuals that he was out to get? Don't know. But he was only 36. All right. We are going to go to his final resting place now. And we have arrived at the Adamsville Cemetery, where Mr. Buford and his wife are laid to rest. We're going to go and see if we can find his grave. Kind of have an idea where it's at, but I'm not 100% sure. But it looks like it's kind of a small cemetery, so we'll see if we can find it. So if you just come straight back to where that church is, of course there's a highway there, so you can't cross the highway, but you can park right before the highway, right across from the church. You'll see this sign, another sign of the Adamsville Cemetery, and their graves are right over here. See that tall marker there? And that is him and his wife. Trying not to step on any graves here. Buford Pusser, December 12th, 1937, August 21st, 1974. Memorial says Buford Pusser, his wife Pauline, Sheriff of McNairy County, Tennessee, from 1964 to 1970. He walked tall. And that is his wife's grave there. And she was actually dug up February of this year for an autopsy. Because when she was killed, she didn't have an autopsy, and neither did Buford. But there was a tip back earlier this year of who possibly killed Miss Pauline, and so they dug her up and did an autopsy. But I don't know any of the results. They haven't released any results or anything. So that's the reason her grave looks fresh and not settled down like his. But yeah, like I mentioned, he didn't have an autopsy either when he was killed. So the speculation and rumors continue. Was he drinking and driving, or was his vehicle tampered with? Don't know. Her footstone, they had to, of course, move it when they dug her up. And it's actually up at her head here. Pauline Pusser, February 27th, 1934. Died August 12th, 1967. See some flyers there. And I hate having to walk on the graves, but sometimes you gotta do that to get to where you want to get to. And Dewana Pusser Garrison, January 9th, 1961, and passed away on March 7th, 2018. That is his and Paulina's daughter. And I believe that's their only child that they had. And then between her and Mr. Buford and his wife Pauline is his parents, Buford's parents. Carl Pusser, born July 24th, 1906. Passed away January 2nd, 1978. And then beside him is his wife, Mr. Buford's mother, Helen Pusser. And it just has the years 1908 to 1987. They got a bench sitting right there on the graves. I want to show y'all this real quick. I showed you his footstone, but I didn't mention they got the symbol of the Fraternal Order of Police there. He was a member. All right, so I'm going to go by and show you where they had his memorial service at. It was at the Adamsville Church of Christ. So we're going to stop by there just a few minutes, show you where it was at. And this is the Adamsville Church of Christ, where Buford Pusser had his memorial service. I don't know how many people attended or anything like that, but this is the church building where his memorial service was held. It's kind of a big building, but it's not super huge either. It would maybe hold 100 or maybe a little over, if that. But yeah, this is it, where his memorial service was held. All right, y'all. Well, I definitely appreciate y'all watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This is going to do it for this video. Please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, whether it be good or bad. And when you subscribe, hit that notification bell and set it to all so you know when I put out new videos. And guys, I really, really do appreciate y'all watching. It really helps out a whole lot. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video of Mr. Buford Pusser and about his life and learning about the man who the original movie Walking Tall was about. All right. So until next time, I'll see you real soon. Thank you and good night.